What's going on, drivers and YouTubers? It's J Rich back again with another one. And today we are talking about the traction control switches and when to use them. This video was brought to my attention by a subscriber, Jason Van Cummins Cowboy. That's a very long YouTube name, by the way. Just in case nobody ever told you that. So anyways, he asked about the traction control switches, when do you use them, and what to do, what not to do, maybe some tips or something to help out and not tear anything up. So, before we get into the video, go on ahead, hit that subscribe right down in the corner. It's very much appreciated, and then a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, as always, drop your comments down below. So, let's get on with it. So here we are at the traction control switches, and yes, it's very annoying that I can see my reflection in the dash. God, I hate that. Anyways, we'll start at the top. Most every truck has the Interaxle diff lock and unlock. Almost every truck. Some don't have it. So, what does this do? And you should always read what these say. Do not engage during spin out. When you find yourself in a little bit of trouble and this wheel is spinning and it's not getting any traction, you flip that interaxle lock, whatever the hell it's called. That will engage this set of tires. Because usually one's in a hole, one's not. You can flip that switch. This one will get you out of that hole. The next switch down is going to be your traction control forward differential lock and unlock. And again, do not engage during spin out. You do not want to engage while it's spinning out. You can break an axle. You can break the differential inside the axle. You don't want that to happen. That's very, very expensive. You turn this on, it also has a light. Now, what does this switch do here? Very simply put, this is the wheel that's always driving. When you flip the forward traction diff lock, it locks the axle side to side. So now those are turning and these are turning. Now if you have the forward diff lock on and you turn the interaxle lock on, this will turn also. This will begin to drive as well as these are driving. If you do not hit the interaxle lock, this does nothing. It's a dummy axle. All right, the next switch down is traction control rear diff lock and unlock. Same thing, has a red light that comes on. Same thing, do not engage during spin out. Make sure your wheels and tires are stopped before you flip these switches. Next one down is an air suspension. That's to dump airbags. Most everybody has that. So when I flip this switch, what does it do? Now the last switch, the rear traction control lock, will lock the rear across. It'll lock it across. So that side will begin to drive, this side will begin to drive. Now, these will not drive if that top switch, the interaxle lock, if you don't flip that, these won't drive. Even though you lock them together, they won't drive. So the interaxle lock has to be on for this rear axle to work. That's just the way it is. All right, guys, so there you have it. Now, I've shown you the switches. I've pointed out to you as to what they lock and unlock and all that kind of stuff. You can use the switches in various combinations. You could do the interaxle lock with the forward, and you could do the interaxle lock with the rear. But the rear does nothing if the interaxle lock is not flipped. that's going to make the back drive shaft start working. So that has to be engaged for the rear to start working. Locking the front and the rear side to side, those work great on very soft ground. I'm not sure about icy conditions because I don't travel up north, and so I just don't have the experience in the snow and the ice. Maybe one of you that do travel up there, Craig up there in Canada, you crazy Canadian, if you're watching, why don't you drop something down there in the comments. Let us know how it goes up there. And you know, I know y'all use chains and whatnot, but you know, what do you do as far as locking the fronts and the rears and the interaxle lock? Do you lock it all together, or do you know, just do one side? What do y'all do up there? So hopefully he'll chime in and give a good explanation on the snow and the ice conditions. But down here in the south, you got a lot of mud, you got a lot of soft ground, stuff like that. So weird transitions. I know, like backing into my driveway when I'm bobtailing and stuff, the road and the driveway are kind of like this, and that the front axle just kind of gets caught in that little dead zone, I guess you'd say, where it's just not touching the ground. So parking areas, you know, some gravel lots, you know, or something where a lot of trucks park at, they'll have big, huge potholes. Pulling out from under a trailer, especially uneven ground, you're going to need to lock axles sometimes. Backing under the trailer wheel, I find that I have to do that, especially with my fifth wheel set up the way it's locked out and everything. You have to get that trailer to kind of ride up over it because the fifth wheel's locked, it's not tilted. And when you unlock them, on a lot of trucks that I've driven, if you're locking axles side to side, those can take a minute for those to disengage. So if you flip that switch and you see that the light does not turn off, usually it'll turn off at say 100 feet or so. Sometimes I've had trucks where it's like the old four-wheel drive pickups that have the hub locks. If you remember those, if you were around, those you had to like pull forward, then you had to back up a little bit, then pull forward again, and they would lock and unlock. I have had trucks where you had to do that on them, on these big trucks, you know. So there you have it. I think I've covered all the bases. I know this video seems pretty long. I've rambled on long enough, you know, but you know, just here to educate and help. So anyways, I hope you learned something. Go on ahead and watch a playlist. Like I said, subscribe, a thumbs up as always. Leave a comment down below. I'll answer most anybody. So, thank you for watching. I'm Jay Rich. You keep the knees in the breeze and the shiny side up. We'll be seeing you.